Object Relations Theory by Melanie Klein. So here we are in the next theory that we will discuss after Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis. So this is the most similar of all the neo-Freudians or the psychodynamic theories to the theory of psychoanalysis. So dahil merong siyang sinasabing object, no, yung ating daw relationship sa object na tinutukoy ni Melanie Klein ay mayroong kinalaman sa development ng ating personality. So if you could remember from our discussion with Freud, meron din siyang tinatawag na object, di ba? Yung sa drives. Merong object, impetus, aim, at source. So, yung ating daw mga drives or instinct o yung tinatawag na motivation ng behavior ay merong apat na elements actually. Yun nga yung impetus, kung gaano to katindi, no, yung extent, and then yung source na nanggagaling yung drive, and then yung aim, no, ano yung solusyon or parang goal para ma-satisfy or ma-gratify yung need, no? And then, the object, yun yung pinaka-target o yun yung parang makakasolve or makakapagpa-satisfy or gratify dun sa kanyang need or drive. Okay, so let's go to the object relations theory by Melanie Klein. So first, let us discuss the biography of Melanie Klein. Again, aalamin natin ano ba yung naging buhay niya bilang nanay, bilang daughter, bilang asawa. No? Kaya naman, ito yung kanyang theory is because sa buhay niya ni Melanie ay nakaranas din siya, no, ng mga negative experiences that leads to her own development of her own personality as well as her daughter. Okay, Melanie Rices Klein. Yun yung kanyang buong pangalan. Right? So, she was born in March 30, 1882 in Vienna, Austria. Katulad din ng Sigmund Freud. Pareho silang taga Vienna. And then she is the youngest of 4 children born to Dr. Maurice Rices and the second wife, Libusa Dush Rices. Klein believed that her birth was unplanned, a belief that led to the feelings of being rejected by her parents. So, dun pa lang, meron siyang paniniwala na hindi sinasadya yung kanyang kapanganakan. Kumbaga, hindi pa dapat siya ipapanganak pero yun na nga, naipanganak na siya. So, yung belief niya na yun, although hindi yun napatunayan, no, nanatili siyang belief lang. Pero nag-lead yun to her feelings of being rejected by her parents. Okay, and then during her childhood, Klein observed both parents working at jobs they did not enjoy. So her father was a physician who struggled to make a living in medicine and eventually was relegated to working as a dental assistant. And her mother ran a shop selling plants and reptiles, a difficult, humiliating, and fearful job for someone who abhorred snakes. Yan. So, nakita niya, nasaksihan niya yung career paths ng kanyang parents wherein na-notice niya na parang hindi naman masaya itong kanyang mga magulang doon sa mga napili nilang occupation o career. So, yung tatay niya, doktor, kaya lang, yun nga, siguro hindi sinuwerte. So, naging assistant lang ito. And then, yung nanay naman niya ay nagtitinda naman ng mga halaman at mga, I don't know, reptiles, no? Siguro, yun nga, mga ahas, no? Kaya lang, yun nga, hindi ito yung gusto talaga ng nanay niya na maging trabaho niya. Alright, so, bata pa lang si Melanie Klein ay ito na yung kanyang na-witness, no, sa kanyang family dynamics or family structure. Okay, and then yung feelings of being rejected, that somehow is connected or related to what we call now attachment, no? Yun nga, kapag feeling mo ay hindi ka gusto o hindi ka, ano to, yung unplanned, no? Yung hindi ka talaga sinasadya na nandyan ngayon. So, yung feelings of rejection can lead to insecure attachment, no? Yung bang feeling na hindi ka welcome sa family. Okay? Klein's early relationships were either unhealthy or ended in tragedy. So una dyan, she saw her father as cold and distant, loved by her mother but suffocating. Fondness with older sister Sidonie but died. So, although kumpleto naman yung family niya, hindi naman broken, pero yung relationship with these family members ay hindi healthy, no? Or ended up in tragedy. Tulad halimbawa sa tatay niya, hindi sila ganun ka-close kasi nga hindi naman malambing, no, yung tatay niya. Her father is seen as cold and distant, no? Normally naman sa mga tatay gano'n, no? Although hindi naman lahat. Pero sa kanya, sinasabi nga natin, 'di ba, yung kay Sigmund Freud, kadalasan close talaga yung batang babae sa tatay niya. Pero on her case, hindi. Okay? And then she was loved naman by her mother but suffocating. So meaning to say, yung mother may pagka-strict siguro, no? Maraming mga bawal na na gusto niyang gawin pero hindi niya pwedeng gawin dahil nga bawal, no? And then fondness, ibig sabihin nito, close siya dun sa ate niya, yun nga lang, naudlot naman, no? Namatay ito ng maaga. Yan. She idolized her brother. And this infatuation may have contributed to her later difficulties in relating to men. Ayan. So, naging close naman siya dun sa isa niyang kapatid na lalaki. And yun na nga, according na naman sa psychoanalysis theory ni Sigmund Freud, pwede kasing mag-develop talaga ng infatuation or parang attracted, no? Nagiging attracted ka dun sa family member na lalaki. So, in her case, ay sa kanyang kapatid, no? Instead na sa kanyang tatay. But, ayun nga, it led her to have later difficulties in relating to men. Okay? And then when Klein was 18, namatay yung tatay niya, but a greater tragedy occurred 2 years later. So, pagkamatay ng tatay niya, after 2 years, namatay naman yung kanyang brother. Okay, na si Emmanuel. So, talagang napaka-tragic ng mga pangyayari sa buhay ni Klein. Kumbaga parang yun na nga yung nag-iisang nagmamahal sa kanya, naramdaman niyang mahal siya, namatay, no? Si Sydney. And then sumunod naman si Emmanuel. So, yan. Tapos yung sa tatay naman niya, hindi pa nga sila nagiging close, hindi pa sila nagkakaroon ng chance to bond together, to get attached, namatay din agad. So, yun. While still in mourning over her brother's death, yun, ito pa isa pa, no? She married Arthur Klein. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya tapos na mag-move on or mag-grieve, no, dun sa pagkamatay nung kuya niya, nung kapatid niyang lalaki, nag-asawa agad siya. 'Di ba nga meron nga siyang difficulties in relating to men. So, parang in a way, parang naging, ano bang tawag doon, yung ano ba, panakipbutas or something na parang, yun na nga, hindi ka pa okay as a person, as an individual, eto ka na naman, papasok ka na naman sa isang relationship na maaring ano mo lang siya, kumbaga parang hindi ka pa talaga okay eh. Tapos yun na nga, papasok ka na naman sa isang relationship. So, Arthur Klein is an engineer who had been Emmanuel's close friend. O yun pa, friend pa. So, parang baka nakikita lang ni Melanie kay Arthur si Emmanuel, di ba? Maaring ganon. So, Melanie believed that her marriage at age 21 prevented her from becoming a physician. And for the rest of her life, she regretted that she had not reached that goal. O, di ba? So, parang nabigla din siya sa pag-aasawa niya nung 21 years old siya and hindi niya natapos, no, yung kanyang pag-aaral dahil doon. So, gano'n. Marami talagang mga puwedeng regrets si Melanie. That's why nung nagka-family siya on her own, ay hindi rin ito ganoon ah, ka hindi naman kinakailangang perfect, but she cannot handle very well her own or manage her own family. Okay, so unfortunately, Klein did not have a happy marriage. She dreaded sex and abhorred pregnancy. Okay, so tingnan nyo, no? So hindi siya naging masaya sa kanyang pagpapakasal o sa kanyang pag-aasawa. Ayaw naman niya talaga ang pakikipagtalik at ayaw niya rin ang panganganak o ang pagbubuntis. So, meaning to say, most likely na kaya lang siya nag-asawa nung time na yon na nalulungkot siya because her brother died and her father also died is yun nga kasi nga baka nalulungkot lang siya and hindi pa ganun ka fully recovered from the grieving process, 'di ba? That's why kailangan talaga totally okay ka bago ka pumasok sa isa pang relationship. And then she had three children, si Melita, she was born 1904, Hans in 1907, and Eric born in 1914. Ayan. So, Klein separated from her husband in 1919 but did not obtain a divorce for several years. So, nakipaghiwalay lang siya, no? Pero, hindi naman officially divorce agad. Okay? And then her work with very young children, including her own, convinced her that children internalize both positive and negative feelings toward their mother and that they develop a superego much earlier than Freud had believed. Okay, so dito parang inumpisahan na niya yung overview ng kanyang theory, no, na naniniwala siya na ang mga bata ini ini-internalize nila, like sabihin, ini-introject nila lahat, both positive and negative feelings na nararamdaman nila sa kanilang mga ina, no, lalong-lalo na sa mga mother. And that they develop, no, yung pa isa pa, yung super ego sa mas maagang panahon, no, mga 4 to 6 months. No? So si Melanie, 'di ba, she had feelings of she believed that she was unplanned or let's say yun nga na meron siyang feelings of rejection towards her parents. So yung feelings na yun, although hindi naman ganun ka ano to kalinaw, no, sa murang edad niya yung feelings of rejection, pero yun ay ininternalize niya. Yan, tumatak sa kanya yun. Kaya para bang si Melanie Klein ay laging naghahanap ng pagmamahal. No? Kaya nung naramdaman niya yon sa kanyang ate, dun sa kanyang kapatid na lalaki, ay sobra siyang nasaktan nung nawala ang mga ito. No? And then nakakita na naman siya ng isang tao kay Arthur Klein na akala niya siguro ay talagang mahal siya nito, grinab niya agad yung opportunity na yon. So, yun o, no? May problem kasi siya in the first place sa attachment. Okay? Kasi hindi na-develop sa kanya at sa nanay niya at sa tatay niya rin yung attachment na dapat ay ma-develop at an early age. In 1926, Ernest Jones invited her to London to analyze his children and to deliver a series of lectures on child analysis. So, these lectures later resulted in her first book, The Psychoanalysis of Children. So, ito yung kanyang forte sa mga bata. Okay? Kasi siguro sa experience niya, bata pa lang, naramdaman na niya yung feelings of rejection, abandonment, being unloved, by her parents. Kaya eto talaga yung significance nung kanyang or focus nung kanyang theory. Yan. In 1927, she took up permanent residency in England and remained there until her death on September 22, 1960. On the day of her memorial service, her daughter Melita delivered a final posthumous insult by giving a professional lecture wearing flamboyant red boots, which scandalized many in her audience. So si Melita, yung eldest niya na daughter, hindi rin close sa kanya, hindi rin sila nagkaroon nito ng magandang attachment, no? And siguro, parang ano yan, history repeats itself, di ba? Hindi kasi din naging maganda yung relationship ni Melanie sa kanyang nanay, and so, ano mabibigay niyang klase ng relationship kay Melita or feelings, no? Kaya, ayun, ganun na lang din yung hinanakit, sama ng loob ni Melita para kay Melanie. Si Melita naging ano rin siya, naging psychoanalyst din siya later. Yan. So, yung galit ni Melita sa kanyang nanay ay umabot hanggang kamatayan nito, no? In fact, yun nga, during the ano to, yung parang funeral ni Melanie, nagsalita si Melita doon sa harap ng maraming tao na dumalaw, no? A posthumous insult. Yan. Um, by giving a professional lecture. So, nag-lecture siya doon about psychoanalysis habang suot-suot yung talaga namang, pag sabi mong flamboyant, ano yun, agaw pansin, no? Na red boots. Siyempre, funeral yun, di ba? Dapat hindi ka magsusuot ng may kulay. Dapat black or white, ganun lang, neutral colors. So, nakakaskandalo yung pagsusuot niya ng red boots. Yan, parang it symbolizes her hostility and her rebellious character or attitude towards her mother. In 1934, Klein's older son, si Hans, was killed in a fall. So, nahulog, no? Nag-hiking yata itong si Hans. Tapos parang nahulog siya sa cliff yata, parang ganon. And then, itong si Melita, ah, sinisisi niya, no? She blamed her mother kasi parang hindi siya naniniwala na nahulog si Hans, kundi ito ay nagpatihulog talaga or in short, nag-suicide. Okay, so Melita, who had recently moved to London with her psychoanalyst husband, Walter Schmidberg, maintained that her brother had committed suicide and she blamed her mother for his death. Yan, so ganon siya kagalit, no, sa kanyang nanay. Even blaming her for her brother's death. Okay? Although Melita Schmidberg was not a supporter of Anna Freud, yan si Anna Freud, syempre nung araw na yon, mga kasabayan nila yan, and Anna Freud continued almost his father's legacy, yung theory nito, but yun nga, medyo uh, ayaw ni Anna Freud sa mga paniniwala ni Melanie Klein, pero nung later on, yung theory ni Anna Freud ay may katulad na rin kay Melanie Klein. Kumbaga nag-focus na rin siya sa children. Yan. Her persistent antagonism toward Klein, di ba, increased the difficulties of Klein struggle with Anna Freud, who never recognized the possibility of analyzing young children. Finally, in 1946, the British Society accepted three training procedures. The traditional one, nung kay Melanie Klein, the one advocated by Anna Freud, okay, iba pa yung kay Anna Freud, and then a middle group, no, that accepted neither training school but was more eclectic in its approach. So, yan yung naging parang career path or career development ni Melanie Klein. She emphasized the nurturing and loving relationship between parent and child. Kailangan kasi maramdaman ng bata yung aruga, yung pagmamahal no, na dapat ay binibigay ng parents niya, lalong-lalo na ng nanay niya. So, yun yung emphasis ng theory ni Melanie. So, kaso mo, hindi nagkaroon ng any nurturant nor a loving relationship to her own daughter Melita because she herself, no, did not experience that before from her own mother. Okay, Melita was the oldest of three children born to parents who did not particularly like one another. Yun pa isa pa, naulit na naman si Melanie at saka yung si Arthur, na-sense, no, na-notice ni na Melita na hindi naman nagmamahalan tong parents ko. So, yun, yung wala kasing prototype, walang model of what intimacy is itong si Melita. Kaya, naging cold and distant siya towards her mother. When Melita was 15, her parents separated. Ayun pa, isa pa. And Melita blamed her mother for this separation and for the divorce that followed. Okay, after Melita received a medical degree, underwent a personal analysis, and presented scholarly papers to the British Psychoanalytical Society, she was officially a member of that society, professionally equal to her mother. So parang in a way, in a sense, naging parang magkasangga sana sila, no? Kasi isa yung kanilang field of work. However, dahil nga meron siyang personal biases towards her mother, ay hindi niya rin, kumbaga parang kinakalaban niya yung nanay niya sa larangan ng psychoanalysis. Yan, her analyst, no, si Edward Glover, ay kalaban din ni Melanie Klein. So, lalong itong si Melita, ginamit na chance ni Edward na lalong makagante, lalong, kumbaga parang ginagatungan para lalong magalit itong si Melita doon sa nanay niya. Okay? The animosity between mother and daughter became even more intense. Yan, lalo na nung napangasawa ni Melita si Walter Schmidberg, another analyst who strongly opposed Klein and who openly supported naman si Anna Freud, Klein's most bitter rival. Diba? In a strongly worded letter to her mother in the summer of 1934, Melita wrote, I hope you will also allow me to give you some advice. I am very different from you. I already told you years ago that nothing causes a worse reaction in me than trying to force feelings into me. It is the surest way to kill all feelings. I am now grown up and must be independent. I have my own life, my husband. So, dito sa letter niya, parang ini-emphasize niya yung kanyang autonomy o yung kanyang being independent individual, no, that is separate from her mother. Okay, and then, so parang dito sinasabi niya na parang, ano ba, nasa-suffocate din in a way, no, ni Melanie si Melita, and parang may mga pinipilit na mga views, principles itong si Melanie kay Melita. That's why siguro kaya siya nag-rebel aside from the fact na hindi niya maramdaman na love siya ni Melanie as a mother and hindi niya rin nakikita sa kanyang parents that they loved one another. So, sabi nga, there goes a saying that says, you cannot give what you do not have. Diba? So, parang ganon. So, ano yung ibibigay niyang pagmamahal? Ano yung ipapakita niyang pagmamahal kung hindi niya yun naman yun nakita from her own mother and dun sa relationship, no, ng kanyang ama't ina. Tapos yun nga, nag-separate pa. Right? So, yan yung letter, no, na sinulat niya for her mother. So, introduction to the object relations theory. Okay, so ito yung overview. Sabi ni Klein, she stressed the importance of the first 4 to 6 months after birth. So, dapat doon palang maramdaman Kasi nga unconscious pa yun yung time na yun, 'di ba? So, hindi niya maiintindihan even if you tell her, the child, that you loved her. What is important is that the child feels, 'di ba? Feels, no? Kasi na-satisfied yung kanyang mga needs, na-gratify yung kanyang mga needs and wants during that age. Alright? So she insisted that the infant's drives, hunger, sex, and so forth are directed to an object. So that object could be a breast, a penis, a vagina, and so on. So una niyan, syempre yung breast. Kasi yun yung parang first, ano natin parang social interaction. Although it's an object, kasi it's part of the body. And later on, that object, we recognize that object, that breast, that penis, or that vagina belongs to the person that nurture us, that love us, 'di ba? So that's why object siya kasi it is kind of permanent, 'di ba? An object is a permanent entity na parang once na magkaroon ka ng idea na ang object ay hindi nawawala. That's why the children are crying when their mother is leaving the house, 'di ba? Kasi somehow na na inculcate sa mind nila na the mother is an object na permanent, na hindi nawawala. Na kapag nawala to sa paningin niya, iyak siya kasi akala niya hindi na 'to babalik, 'di ba? Parang may gano'n. Kaya lang, yun nga once na kaya kaya umiiyak, 'di ba? Kaya umiiyak kapag umaalis. Okay? That's why siguro that also explains why we cry or why we hurt whenever someone would leave us or someone would die. 'Di ba? Kasi we perceive them as object that is quite permanent. Okay? Kaya hindi na, nawala na yung temporal entity nung or characteristic nung bagay o nung tao na yon, no? Kaya 'di ba kapag hindi pa permanent, kapag hindi niya pa na perceive na permanent yung object o yung person, hindi siya iiyak kahit na umalis yun, no? Parang okay, nawala lang ganyan. Oh, hindi niya hahanapin, di ba? Pero once that the object, the person is perceived as permanent, then doon na nagkakaroon ng problema about attachment, di ba? Kasi doon na nag-start na magkaroon ng attachment. Okay? So, the child's relation to the breast is fundamental, basic. Okay? Basic. So, symbolize yan, no? That the child's relation to the mother. Of course, the breast belongs to the mother and serves as a prototype for later relations to whole objects such as mother and father. So kapag hindi maganda or wala kang healthy relationship with that object or with that breast, therefore magkakaroon ka ng problema sa pakikipagrelasyon sa mga tao per se. Okay, so another theory, si Margaret Mahler, we will also discuss about her. No, she believes that the sense of identity rests on a three-step relationship with their mother. So parang ano to, sinigundahan niya yung theory ni Melanie Klein, no, na yung ating sense of who we are or identity, meron siyang three-step relationship with their mother. First, infants have basic needs cared for by their mother, of course, no? Yung ating hunger, yung clothing, yung safety, security, yan yung mga basic needs na taken care of by our mother. And then next, they develop a safe, symbiotic relationship, no? Yung give and take relationship with an all-powerful mother. Yan. So, pag nandiyan yung nanay natin, feel safe tayo, 'di ba? Ah, feel secured, no? Na walang gagalaw sa atin, walang mangyayaring masama kasi nandiyan ang nanay natin. Kasi yan ang pinaka-powerful na object or entity na meron tayo. And then, they emerge from their mother's protective circle and establish their separate individuality. So, parang in a way, ganito siya, no? As a baby, lahat ng needs natin, we are helpless human beings na lahat ng needs natin, yung mother yung nagbibigay. Siya yung kumakarga sa'yo, pag iiyak ka, siya yung nagbibigay ng dede mo, ng gatas mo, sa tuwing kayo magugutom, di ba? Hindi mo pa naman kaya mag-isa. And then, habang lumalaki ka, yun nga, nade-develop yung safe, symbiotic relationship, no? Parang dun ka na ngayon nagre-rely, nakadependent ka dun sa mother mo, in a way, ganun. Kaya yung mga bata, di ba, laging kapit-kapit sa nanay, di ba? And then, eventually, kahit na nakadepende tayo sa ating mga nanay, unti-unti humihiwalay tayo, no? And that starts usually kapag tayo ay nakakatayo na, nakakalakad na, yung bang unti-unti tayong humihiwalay dun sa identity natin kapag kasama natin ang ating mga ina. Alright, so we establish our own separate individuality. Okay? So nagkakaroon tayo ng sarili nating ah, individuality o pagkakakilanlan or sense of identity. So parang yun daw yung healthy, no? Yun yung healthy na attachment according to Margaret Mahler. Na of course, sa start, kailangan maging dependent muna, di ba? Kasi helpless tayo. Our needs, basic needs are taken care for, no, by the mother usually. And then after nun, parang unti-unti nagkakaroon ka ng separate na individuality. Parang hindi ka mapupunta dun sa separation ng individuality unless you get dependent first from your mother. Oo, parang ganun yung sense. Okay? And then we also have Heinz Kohut. Sabi ni Heinz Kohut, he theorized that children develop a sense of self during early infancy when parents and others treat them as if they had an individualized sense of identity. So, gano'n naman yung kay Heinz Kohut, yung trato, no, sa atin ng ibang tao, no, lalo na ng parents natin. So, if we were treated as helpless, defenseless, di ba? So, mananatili tayong walang sense of identity. But when we are treated as if we have an individualized sense of identity, then therefore, we can live uh, independently later on. Alright? And then John Bowlby naman investigated infants' attachment to their mother as well as the negative consequences of being separated from their mother. So, ang pinag-aralan naman ni John Bowlby sa attachment is yung paano ba naging attached yung bata sa nanay niya at saka yung ano yung magiging negative na effect or consequence kapag na-separate ka naman sa nanay mo. Okay? And then Mary Ainsworth and her colleagues developed a technique for measuring the type of attachment style. So may iba-iba naman daw attachment style ang infant, no, that develops towards its caregiver. So kay Mary Ainsworth, actually pinakabago nga itong sa kanya, sabi niya, maraming klase ng attachment style. Although we have only two major attachment style, the insecure and secure. Ngayon, in-emphasize din niya sa theory niya na hindi lang naman mother, no, yung pwedeng makapagbigay ng bonding or ng attachment. Pwede namang any primary caregiver na ating nakagisnan. Okay, so that's all for the first part ng object relations theory.